Okay, let's read some more of Horrible Science. Ugly bugs. We're reading about underwater uglies. Why not relax by a peaceful pond or river and forget about horrible ugly bugs? Some chance. Ugly bugs like water even more than you do, and those murky waters hide some pretty ugly undercurrents. Winter freezing. Ugly bugs have to hide in the mud at the bottom. Spring, rain. Acid rain is very bad for ugly bugs. Summer, warm and sunny. If the weather gets too hot, the pond will dry up. Autumn, soggy. Leaves can clog the pond as they rot. They use up all the oxygen and the ugly bugs die. Wow, it's a pretty rough life in the pond for the ugly bugs. Imagine a pond as a kind of living soup. It's full of tiny plants and animals. The largest animals are always trying to eat the smaller ones. And the smaller animals are trying to eat even smaller animals. And they're all trying not to be eaten by each other. Scientists called this a food web because you get in a tangle if you try to figure out who eats who. A pond is a perilous place to live. And it's not just other animals bugs have to watch out for. There are plenty of hazards all year round. And at all times, horrible humans chuck in harmful rubbish and poisonous pollution, and then they drain the pond. Ugly underwater lifestyles. Every freshwater ugly bug has developed its own methods of living and eating. See if you can match each ugly bug to its loathsome lifestyle. Okay, number 1. Hangs under the water surface and breathes through a tube. Grabs a passing bug in its claws and sucks out the juices. Is that a water scorpion, a water measurer, a whirly beetle, a great pond snail, a water flea, or a water spider? What do you reckon? Don't know? Okay, we'll look at the answers later. Number 1. A water scorpion. Okay. Number 2. Lives in an underwater diving bell made from silk and air bubbles. Eats anything that moves. What do you reckon what that one is? Well, it's not the water scorpion because that was number 1. Could it be a water measurer? A whirly, what is it? A whirligig beetle, a great pond snail, a water flea, or a water spider? Lives in an underwater diving bell made from silk and air bubbles. Eats anything that moves. Which one do you reckon? I reckon number 2, water spider. You are right. Number 3, hangs upside down from the surface and stores air in its shell. Eats tiny plants. Wow, that one's pretty easy. The snail, yeah, 3D, the snail. 4, walks around on the surface looking for bugs that have fallen in. Its light body and widely spaced legs ensure it doesn't break the water tension. That's the springy top surface of the water. Which one do you reckon that is? B, the water measurer. You are right. Number 5, lives in the water and leaps to escape. Lives off tiny plants. Yeah, I think you're right. The flea. Yes. And so 6 must be the whirligig beetle. Swims around in circles on the surface and dives to escape danger. Has 4 eyes, 1 pair of eyes above the water and 1 pair below. Whoa, that's wild. It can also fly. Eats other pond bugs. That was cool. Okay. Ugly water sports. As long as conditions in the pond are right and there is plenty of food, life for a pond ugly bug must seem one long holiday. Is this a holiday you could do without? Welcome to Ugly Bug Waterworld, the water sports centre where leisure is lethal. The small print, we can't guarantee your safety. If you get eaten, it's not our fault, okay? A great dive. Dive into danger with the great diving beetle. Store air bubbles under your wings to stay down for longer. Also, learn to grab and guzzle any underwater edibles. Rafting and fishing. Enjoy a lazy paddle with our resident raft spider. As you float by on your leaf raft, try a spot of fishing. Just dip one of your 8 legs in the water to attract little fish. Power beetle racing. Race a rove beetle boat. Hang on tight as the boating beetle bombs across the water. All our beetles feature the latest jet-propelled abdomen gas engines. I think we'll stay at home this year, kids. Water good swim. Learn basic backstroke with our brilliant backswimming water boatman beetle. Swimming on your front lesson taught by his assistant, the lesser water boatman. Now you've worked up an appetite, where better to relax than our exclusive underwater eating place, the Caddisfly Lava Cafe. Gravel built with silk wallpaper, it's the perfect place for relaxing and informal meal. Book now before your Caddisfly chief grows up and flies away. Vegetarian? Don't worry. The Nearly Veggie Caddisfly Cafe offers a choice of tiny, slimy plants and bits of rotting leaves. Warning to patrons, beware the treacherous trout. They sometimes try to eat the cafe. Do you want to go there, boys? To the Caddisfly Lava Cafe. No? Okay. Bet you never knew. May or June is when mayflies hatch out and have the day of their lives, literally. They only live in a day or so. They mate, lay their eggs and die. Ugly bugs and fearsome fish go crazy, banqueting on the bodies. Happy birthday. Loathsome leeches. Lurking at the bottom of your local pond or canal is a creature that makes the others seem quite likeable. There's no way of disguising it. These creatures are loathsome. Ugly bug fact file. Name of the creature, the leech. Where found? Worldwide in water or damp rainforests. Horrible habits. Sucks blood. Any helpful habits? Used in medicine to suck blood, surprisingly enough. Distinguishing features. Long, segmented body with suckers at the back and front. Horrible sucking end. Revolting, expanding body. The most loathsome leech awards. Number 1, horse leeches. Have nothing to do with horses. These 12-inch underwater uglies relish rotting flesh and fresh worms. Whoa, that's massive. Number 2, thermizon. Yep. Really gets up the noses of wading birds, literally. The loathsome leech feeds in their nostrils. Whoa. Number 3, Glossophonia. Enjoys sucking the juices from underwater snails. A loathsome leech barometer. But even leeches have their uses. Here is a vile Victorian invention it's best not to try. Simply place a leech in a jar of fresh pond water. Cover the top of the jar with a fine cloth and secure tightly. Feed your barometer on blood now and then. How to read the barometer. Leech climbs to the top of the jar means that rain is expected. If the weather settles down again, so will the leech. Lazy leech lies on the bottom of the jar means fine or frosty weather. Restless leech shows that a storm is on its way. Aha! The leech is restless. Perhaps I won't get out on my round-the-world boat trip this afternoon. Creepy crawlies. Who hasn't looked under a stone at one time or another and seen an assortment of horrible-looking creatures? Chances are that these creepy crawlies included centipedes, millipedes and woodlice. Now, you might think that because these creatures live in the same place, they'd all be mates. Well, you'd be horribly wrong. Centipedes, like like to eat millipedes when they get the chance, and that's just the start of their disgusting differences. Where found worldwide, often amongst leaf litter and rotten wood. Disgusting features: centipede, segmented, slightly flattened body, 2 jointed legs on each segment, 2 long feelers. Millipede, segmented, rounded body, 4 jointed legs on each segment, 2 short feelers. Creepy comparisons. Feet count. Millipede means 1,000 feet, which just goes to show that some scientists can't count. Millipedes never have more than 300 feet. Centipede means 100 feet, but once again the scientists got it horribly wrong. Most centipedes have fewer than 30 feet. Walking. When a millipede walks, waves of movement pass up its body so that it glides along. When a centipede walks, it raises alternate legs just as you normally do. It has extra long legs at the back so it doesn't trip up. 3. Jaws. Millipedes have munching jaws. Centipedes have poison fangs. They're both pretty ugly. Romantic problems. Millipedes have a big problem. They can't see very well, so male millipedes have developed some strange ways of attracting a mate. Some hang their heads on the ground. Others let out a loud screech. Bang their heads, sorry. Others let out a loud screech. Some produce special scents. Others rub their legs together to make sounds. A male centipede, on the other hand, has other things on his mind. All centipedes are horribly aggressive, and the female he fancies is quite capable of eating him. So first of all, he walks around her, tapping her with his feelers to show that he's friendly. He's so hunky I could eat him. Murderous millipedes and centipedes. Centipedes enjoy eating millipedes when they get the chance, but the millipedes often put up a fight. Here's what happens. Centipede attack plan. Spear prey on fangs and inject poison. Once prey stops wriggling, nibble at leisure. I'm a goner. Millipede defense plan. Curl up in a ball, squirt nasty fluid from stink glands on the side of its body. Who do you think has the best chance of winning? The menacing millipedes or the sinister centipedes? Pooh, what a smell. In some parts of the world, centipedes and millipedes can grow to gigantic proportions. Giant millipedes can measure up to 10 inches long. Wow, that is crazy. We saw one of those in China, didn't we? Remember that? Some of these monsters have fearsome fangs. One type of centipede in the Solomon Islands has a particularly painful bite. People have been known to plunge their hands into boiling water to take their minds off the pain. In Malaysia, the local centipede's bite has been described by travellers as worse than a snake's. And in India, there are even scarier stories of people who are killed by giant centipede bites. Mind you, the millipedes aren't much better. In Haiti, in the West Indies, giant millipedes attack the local chickens and sometimes blind them with jets of poison. Other giant millipedes produce little puffs of poison gas. The gas kills any attacking animal. Chicken tonight. But size doesn't save either the giant centipedes or the giant millipedes from a horribly gruesome death. In the African savannah, giant hornbills are often seen plodding along looking at the ground. Suddenly they will nab a passing centipede in their long beak, and the centipede has no chance to bite the bird back. Scrunch, crunch, gobble, and poor old deadly giant centipede is turned into another scrumptious snack for the hornbill. Other centipedes get carried away by armies of ants. Okay, the centipede can easily kill a few hundred ants, but when it's 10,000 ants to one centipede, the poor old centipede does not stand a chance. Yuck, tastes disgusting. Try something else then. Giant millipedes have it tough too. Grey meerkats often feed on millipedes. Funny thing is that the meerkats always screw up their faces in disgust when they're eating. Well, who would expect a millipede to taste good? Dare you make friends with a millipede? Let's come out to that. Now, for the good news. In this country, millipedes are quite harmless, just as long as you handle them gently, and as long as you don't try to make a meal of them. Here's how to make a meal for them instead, just to show what a good pal you are. First, catch your millipede and make sure it is a millipede, not a centipede. Millipedes lurk in shady places, so try looking under leaf litter, compost, or horse tree bark, or loose tree bark. Pop your new friend into a small jar partly filled with earth and a piece of bark so it can hide. Then serve up a tasty treat. A millipede's mouth would water at the thought of a ripe raspberry, a piece of potato skin, a mouldy old lettuce leaf, or a little chunk of apple. Place the jar in a dark, secluded place. Next day, find out which delicious dish the millipede preferred. Then it's time to say goodbye to your millipede mate. So pop your guest back where you found it. There is Shaw. Oops. Come on the page. There is sure to be plenty of leaf litter and food and shelter, and there's less hope that and let's hope there are no centipedes loitering nearby. Otherwise, your millipede will end up someone else's menu. A woodlousy life. Along with the millipedes and centipedes at the bottom of your garden live hundreds, no thousands of woodlice. The most common species are their imaginatively named common woodlouse and the pillbug, not to be swallowed for a headache. Name of the creature, the woodlouse. Where found worldwide in damp, dark places where there is rotting material, e.g. slimy brown leaves. Disgusting features, about 15 millimeters long with 7 pairs of jointed legs and 2 feelers. Segmented armor around its body, allowing it to move easily. A pillbug can roll itself into a ball, but please don't try bouncing one. The common woodlouse can't do this. Some people think woodlice are boring, but as always, they are wrong. Woodlice are horribly interesting. Yeah, we have, haven't we? 10 terribly interesting facts about woodlice. 1. Not a lot of people know this, but a woodlouse is not a louse. In fact, country people call woodlice some extremely unboring names. Coffin cutters, chookies, bibblebugs, dudworms, gamasowls. Woodlice have extremely interesting relatives. Crabs, shrimps, prawns, lobsters, and woodlice are all part of the crustacean family. Many people are extremely interested in eating their seaside relatives. Not many people are interested in eating woodlice. You might think, but you'd be wrong. 3. This is not a horrible habit, but a delicious delicacy. Salted and fried woodlice are an African specialty. They eat them like chips. Oh. Woodlice themselves have a horribly boring diet. Though they prefer bits of rotting plants and moulds. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but somebody's got to eat it. Otherwise, we'd be knee-deep in the stuff. And woodlice do liven up their diet with the odd interesting dish, like other woodlice, for instance, or their own droppings, and their skin after they've shed it. Ugh. Woodlice start off as eggs in their mum's tummy pouch. 4 weeks later, they hatch as tiny woodlice. Baby woodlice live with their parents, which is an interesting way for an ugly bug to start life because most insect eggs are abandoned by their mothers. It's terrible, but true. Stay close, my darlings. 6. When woodlice lives are full of drama and excitement. They put most TV soaps to shame. Yes, woodlice never go to bed early and with a mug of cocoa, but they get to sleep all day and go out every night, and then they break into your home. 7. You're most likely to see woodlice in wet weather because the biggest danger for a woodlouse is drying out. Interestingly, every year millions of baby woodlice come to a sad and sticky end by simply shriveling up. Number 8. Some woodlice live in horribly interesting places. One variety lives inside yellow ants' nests and eats their droppings. Another type of woodlouse lives by the seaside under piles of slippery, rotting seaweed. Number 9. Woodlice have some interesting but if deadly enemies. The most dangerous of these is the dreaded woodlouse spider. Once grabbed in the spider's pincer-like grip, woodlouse is doomed. A spider injects in its poison and the woodlouse dies in 7 seconds. Quite an interesting way to go. 10. And there are some horribly interesting woodlice pests, such as the tiny worms that sometimes live inside them and kill them, or the disgusting fly larvae that creep into a woodlouse's body and eats it from the inside out. Ugh.